Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is finally time. We get to bring you a playoff victory stream. Woo! All right,
Lee.
victory.
2-0, baby.
It's an
Whatever.
amazing feeling.
For whatever reason, these two teams decide that, you know what, if we're going to lose, the other team's going to lose, and if we're going to win, the other team's going to win. And it's worked out weirdly that way. But we got 2-0 victories today, so I can't complain.
And we also get to celebrate a longtime contributor, listener of the podcast coming back. He was just here. He was watching the Avalanche game with me, so he's local. He's in the room next door to me, and then he's going to get back to his own house because he's a real adult, something that I have no experience whatsoever in dealing with. Dom, thank you very much for joining us, and yeah, let's get your thoughts so far on this playoff run, because Niko and I have talked about Blackwood. This was your first time sitting down there watching him with me in a meaningful game. What were your impressions on Blackwood, and what are your impressions just on the playoff outlook as a whole before we get started on Game 4?
I mean, now that we got the defense and everybody clicking too, it's so nice to have somebody back behind them that can actually stand on their head when they need to. I mean, giving up no goals with how many shots that he saw tonight, 20 plus, 25 plus shots, it's insane. And it really, I mean, this entire time they've been playing some good team hockey. They just haven't gotten the breaks to fall their way when they needed them to. Like you guys have been saying over the last couple of episodes on the podcast, this team's not necessarily built as a go into overtime and win team. They are a attack team, and that's what we saw tonight.
Definitely. Before we get into all things Game 4s, because we had two of them today, both the Avs and Nuggets get back out of their 2-1 holes. Series are both tied 2-2 going into Game 5. Want to make sure, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow us. It looks like if both these teams decide to show up, we'll be continuing to do these for a lot of time. So if you enjoy the post game, the live reaction content, make sure you subscribe.
I will say one will probably end a lot sooner, depending on if we make it past this round. But at least one more week, a couple more weeks, at least.
That's what I tell the football players when we get into the postseason. Like, don't make this the last practice. Just get me to Monday. I want to see you guys on Monday. I enjoy your presence. I enjoy being around you. I don't want to go away from all the bench warmers that we've been accruing over the last few weeks. All right, let's get into the Avalanche game that we saw tonight. Basically what we said following Game 3, and I'm sure that you had similar feelings, Dom, but Niko and I, we basically boiled it down to they didn't shoot at all, like just throwing pucks towards the net at the rate that they need to. Dallas was doing those things, and there was not as much pressure in the neutral zone. It just seemed like there was a lack of urgency. Today, that urgency was there from the very beginning. We were a little bit late jumping to the game because of the Toronto-Ottawa Game 4 going into overtime and the Senators pushing that to a Game 5. But from the very beginning, this was a different attack. And the one good thing that I will say is that we never had a letdown of that attack. There was not this back and forth of momentum swings. Anytime that the Stars started to bring the puck back through the neutral zone, they were getting buzzed. The tower was being buzzed right away. Like, nope, that's mine. Thank you very much. Nope, Drouin's going back the other way. Nope, Nietzsche's. O'Connor with the shorthanded goal gets things started off. It seems like LOC has a shorthanded goal in every playoff run that we have. Let's talk about that. Well, first off, special teams sucked up until this point, but then special teams kicked scoring off. Shorthanded goal from LOC. Gentlemen, what do we feel about this one?
I mean, it's like you were saying, if you shoot enough times, if you get the puck deep into the zone and get it towards the net enough times, eventually it's going to bounce your way. And we saw a bunch of those tonight. That Landeskog goal where he went top shelf, opposite side, was insane. That was just perfect placement, but that's because there were so many shots that Dallas had to try and take care of and stop, that eventually, their defense just can't handle it anymore. I mean, if you take any sort of surface and you throw things at it or you shoot things at it enough times, eventually it wears down and it breaks down. And that's the game plan that we've seen from the Avalanche over the last few years, that we know, that we love, and that we know that it works.
I mean, I think the couple of the line changes, I think, made a massive difference right at the beginning. Obviously, having Drew and drop down, putting Landy back on the second line with Nelson and Val, I think really helped. OC, obviously, we talked about he may be the best player on the ice so far for the Avs through 4 games with how well he's been playing, not out outside the goaltending. But like we've been talking about, it's not necessarily like just pucks in deep, shooting on net, right? The Avs dictating the pace of the game and scoring goals. If the Avalanche score 4 goals a game, they will win the series. Dallas wants to play a 2-1 hockey game, like a 1-0, 2-1 ugly hockey game, because they rely on their own goaltending with obviously Otter playing out of his damn mind thus far, and relying on the depth and that they have at the wings to get 1 or 2 in and play strong defense, right? Avs want to go up and down the ice, up and down the ice. One thing that I think changed a lot today, especially in the power play, that I noticed quite a bit was the forecheck on the power play, right? I mean, I think it was a game on Friday, or was it? No, yeah, the game was Thursday. Excuse me. Or no, it was Wednesday. Game 3 Wednesday, whatever it was. Game 3 on game 3. I was watching and I was like, these guys are just struggling to keep the puck in the zone. Right? They were every time they kept it in, Dallas would swarm on McKinnon, swarm there, and I really think that the adjustments with changing the lines up helps so much because obviously Landy he's a difference maker when he steps out there. But you saw Val get in the forecheck and open up lanes for McKinnon on the one-on-ones. You saw Drew and have a little bit more space on that third line with OC and company, right? So like changing the lines up is one thing Bednar is used to, and one thing that I think he does better than most people in the NHL. But like going into the flow of a game, Bedsy just continues to find different ways to get different guys active, right? Get different guys going, get different guys looks at different points in the game. And when you have the depth that this team has right now, it helps a lot, especially getting new guys on the stat sheet, new guys attacking Ottinger, screening the cage. It can play mental warfare with you on the sideline because as a defender, especially in hockey, it's like you're defending against the line. Okay, this guy's going to do this. This guy's going to this guy's going to do this against us. This guy's going to do that against us. How are we going to take away this? How are we going to take that? Well, if that continually changes, just as much as it may be weird for offensive guys to get have good chemistry with their line mates, it's just as difficult as a defender on the fly to figure out, okay, this guy's going to do this on this line. This guy's going to do this on this line. It keeps your mind boggling, and Bedsy's been incredible thus far, I think, through 4 games. Like I said, look, the Avs have led this series for over 120 minutes.
Yeah.
And going to this game, Dallas has only led for 1 minute. And frankly, if it wasn't for 2 bad mistakes in overtime, we could be either A, looking at a sweep right now, or B, be in a situation where we're at least 3-1 going back to Dallas. But at least we're at 2-2 and not down. So
I think another big change that we didn't really talk about that we can mention is also the change in philosophy, especially on the defensive side. I mentioned it from the first period. The defense was crashing almost right away, and that can be scary at some points. But the thing that I guess I didn't really say flat out because it is, I mean, I'm still learning it. It's not like I'm an expert at it, but I am trying to get better at teaching, mental toughness and trying to push through that way. And we recently had the wrestlers that I work with read a book called The Predator Mindset, and they talk specifically like you can't, when you get a lead, start pulling back. And it felt like in game 3, the defense wanted to stay by the blue line and let the forwards enter the zone. But that's not how this team works. This team works by chopping it deep, letting the forwards skate. And then if the defense is there to make a play, we have very skilled defensemen. Even not the top guys, not Cale Makar, not just Devon Taves, all the way down. Malinsky set up a goal today by Landeskog. Like Malinsky had his best game of the series so far. It's been a little bit of a change.
Thus far. Thus far. Yeah.
He got inserted for EJ after game 2, I believe. And from there, he's played a very good style of hockey in his first playoff run. But the defense crashing and keeping that puck in and just making life absolutely miserable. Like we'll get to it again in the third period, but you can't tell me that pressure didn't influence the decision to pull Ottinger by the third period. It was something like he's seen 90 pucks coming towards the cage. Let's pull him because we'll give him a little bit of a mental rest.
You didn't want him to keep getting shelled because the floodgates could have opened wide open that second period. If Ottinger was making great save after great save, where it felt like crap, can we get one in? And then we kept filing in slowly, where it could have gotten a lot worse if that was a for GF, for instance, in the net. But Ottinger obviously is a different type of goaltender, one of the best goaltenders in the league for a reason. And like I said, I think that's a strategic move by DeMoor, being like, you know what, we're not going to be able to come back. We're not putting goals and pucks on net right now. Let's not kill his confidence with just getting him shelled. Because all four lines, from McKinnon's line all the way down to Drury, Park Kelly, C line, which I thought was great too. We're pressuring. We're putting pressure on them in the forecheck, in the offensive zone, where Dallas really struggled to keep the puck on the opposite side zone, in the offensive zone, and keep consistently getting shots off, especially as a defenseman. Every time the puck really raised up to the top of the crease and top of the ice there, near the blue line, it really felt like the Avs were pressuring the defenseman, and that was an adjustment Bedsy made that made the difference, because consistently the Stars would get the puck up to the blue line, so the defenseman struggle handling it. It would go past the blue line. It's a whole reset. And it's such a deflating thing as a defenseman when you have to, offense group, when you have to come back behind the blue line, that the Avs were just doing a great job of pressuring up.
Yeah, Dom, do you think there's a strategy of pulling your goaltender and not letting the opposing team figure out other ways to beat him? I mean, he already got beat three times up until that point. Is there a strategy of pulling your goaltender and maybe not letting him show all of his weaknesses?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely strategy in doing that. I mean, obviously, you don't want him to keep having to take, save after save after save, especially considering that it's only game 4 of the series. And so there's definitely strategy to that. And I'll be honest, when they came back out for the third period and I realized that he got pulled, my instant reaction was, well, that gives him a lot of confidence. I mean, if he just only gave up one goal, seeing the 15, 20, however many shots he saw in the second period.
He saw 30 shots just in the second period alone.
Just in the second period alone, and only one of those made it in. There's also a little bit of a kind of a psychological piece that goes along with that. And I'm sure that and I don't want to speak for Ottinger, but if I was in that position, in my mind, I'm like, well, yeah, I just saw 30 goals. Only one of them made it in. Give me a chance to kind of stay in that same groove, right? But I see the psychological piece of, well, you know what, man, you did what you could. Your defense isn't helping you out too much. Let's not tire you out now. Let's try to save your mind, save your legs, all that different stuff for the next game. And you know what? Let's just kind of hit reset and let's go back home and see what we can do there. There's kind of a 50-50 for me. I don't want to break down the confidence of the guy who just showed me that he's willing to, put mind, body, and limb out there to try to keep things from going into the net. But there's also that other piece of, well, let's save you. Let's not put you out there for the entire period when it's just you versus the other 6 guys who are on the ice.
Moving forward past the LOC shorthanded goal right before first period ends, we get a power play goal, this time scored by Nathan McKinnon. Who else? Big bounce back game from him too. We talked about his game 3 being lackluster. Him and Cale Makar both got called out for the way that they played, and they both answered the bell. McKinnon's power play goal assisted by Taves and Drouin. That was our first power play goal, Niko, in 7 power play attempts. It was nice to get the monkey off the back.
Yeah, I mean, it was an ugly one too. It wasn't a pretty one. It was an ugly short-sided goal that went right under Ottinger's arm. That everyone was like, "Did that go in? Did he stop it?" And it's just snuck right by him. It was an ugly one.
Hey,
even Mac, you saw his face when he scored. He was like, "Fuck, that was hideous." He was like, "That should not have gone in," and it went in though. And that's
sometimes you don't care how good it looks. You just care that it goes in. And honestly, at that point, just take the win.
It's just the shooter's touch, and I mean, look, I thought the power play was much better tonight, even if it didn't produce as much as we would have liked still. But I really felt like there's such an ownership of keeping, once you enter the zone, of threatening. And what I saw a lot in game 3, once you enter the zone in the man-up situation, it was a one-on-one situation with McKinnon, Cale, or Natchez out running down the ice, and he would get bombarded by 2 guys. There's more of an ownership this tonight as you enter the zone, be a threat passing wise, not just going to the goal, right? Looking for your defenseman, dropping it off to the defense behind you, looking toward the wings on the boards, right? And getting the puck in the zone, keeping the zone. And I think that was a major adjustment that helped a lot, and especially getting that McKinnon goal.
It was a good feeling not having just a 1-goal lead. You got 2 goals past Ottinger. That's something that you've struggled to do outside of just a couple of other moments in this series, and it was telling of things to come. The second period is, I mean, it's the only points that's scored. It was a hell of a period for the Colorado Avalanche, and it's a great moment for one of the greatest ambassadors of hockey that I think this league has ever seen. I looked at Dom after he scored it. I had tears in my eyes. I told him he should just be all-time captain. Even when he's like 60, I don't want him to be off of the roster. Just leave him on the bench. Leave him.
I'm not calling you out. I'm not calling you out, but I said it too. We both questioned if we should have gave up the C. That's all I was going to say. We both did. We both did. I think everyone did.
If he was
I think
never,
everyone did.
yeah,
I can confirm. I just listened to that episode today.
I
so
think
I
everyone has. I think everyone did at one point question, be like, I don't know if he's coming back. I think we should give it up, and we wouldn't have got this moment, but we did. And luckily,
I questioned his toughness, and I feel really bad about it. But I will, in fairness, he questioned his own toughness. There was questions. This was not a guarantee that he was ever going to come back, and that was driven home by that point. It was over 1,000 days that he went in between scoring goals, and now he's gotten that tally out there. He's gotten a goal. He almost had 2. He was the one crashing the crease for Sammy G's goal in the third period, which is the last one that was scored. But damn, that Landeskog moment, that was the push that we were expecting from his big return when he first got back to the ice. It took a little bit of time, but you can't tell me the performance that we saw, the regrouping, and the puckerness of the Dallas Stars comes directly from 92 being back on the ice. If he wasn't playing, they would be like, oh, yeah, well, we at least split the games in Colorado. We'll go home. It's a best of 3 series now. Dallas can't sit back on their heels and go, we'll figure it out. That was just a one-time thing. That could be repeated. It's not going to be easy. Not going to be easy by any means, and I don't think you're going to repeat it for another 60 minutes. But what the Avalanche did tonight to be successful is a very good product that you can put together, and you definitely need to put it together if you're going to make a deep run in these playoffs.
And the Stars can feel good all they want about this series being 2-2, but the fact of the matter is that you've won 2 games off of tight games at the end, right? You have not won a solidified 6-on-6 or even strength game thus far, right? You've gotten to overtime, you've gotten the lucky bounces, got the wins, and then we dominated game 1, dominated game 4. Dallas hasn't put a full game together, which could be a bad thing, could be a good thing for them. We'll see. But it's one team that has frankly had the mistakes that got those 2 games to overtime, and then had those unlucky bounces in OT, and the other team just getting shellacked. And that's one thing that the Avs can hang their hat on thus far. It's like I said, the Dallas fans can act like they're winning the series all they want. Yeah, they had 2-1. You still haven't led for more than 2 minutes of hockey time in actual game time. So we'll see how that translates to game 5, 6, and 7.
Let's look quickly to game 5 before we switch over to the Nuggets and let Dom go home. Dom, what are you expecting for the response in Dallas? Do you think that, we saw it get chippy towards the end? Is that something that we're going to see finally boil over? I felt like we've been almost owed a fight in this series the way the last couple games have gone. What are you expecting for Colorado in game 5 to try and repeat the performance that we saw tonight?
Well, I mean, based off of the series history over the last few years, Dallas has been let's be honest, Dallas has been Colorado's kryptonite, right? So
I've only melted down like 3 times on this show because of losing a playoff series to them. So what's 3 out of 4 times?
Still, I mean, either way, it's going to be chippy, one way or the other. Whoever's up, whoever's down. What I'm expecting, though, is a similar offensive game plan to what we saw tonight from the Colorado Avalanche. I mean, just attack. We want to keep the puck on their part of the ice. And yes, that sounds obvious, but over the last couple of games, we've seen that when that happens, that plays into the Avs' strength, right? And it plays against the weaknesses, or it plays, I guess, towards the weaknesses of the Dallas Stars. Dallas has been kind of notorious for being more of that bruiser setup team, and that kind of plays itself into, against speed. They're easily able to be kind of worn down that way. So I'm expecting a similar offensive game plan as tonight from the Avalanche. As far as the Stars go, I'm expecting them to come out hot. They're back at home. They just got walloped for nothing, for lack of a better term. And it was a very, very handed, like there was no, well, Dallas could have done this, could have done that. I mean, the Avalanche dominated basically from buzzer to buzzer. So I think that they're going to take that personally and they're going to come out strong. But I think the Avalanche are going to come out even stronger now that they see that the game plan that they should be following actually works.
Niko, my question for you, do you think that they're going to force the Rope Hintz card? Because there was question whether or not we'd see him by game 5 at the beginning of this series.
Oh, not Rope Hintz. It's Jason Robertson.
No, not Robertson's out for the series. I meant Heiskanen, the other Finnish guy.
I mean, I don't think it's a do or die game 5. I think if you get shellacked and shellacked in game 5 and have to go back on the road, but it's a different story. In game 6, maybe you throw Heiskanen out there. I mean, look, if Dallas wants to win this series again, they have to do what they did in game 2 and game 3, which was play physical, force the game to be a 2-1 hockey game. Because, like I said, they cannot score. That team, as good as their forward line is, they cannot win a hockey game against the Avs playing a 4-3 hockey game. That's just not something that they do not have in them. They're a beat you up kind of team with Ben and Marchman and company that will wear you down. And frankly, the Avs threw the first punches today, and Dallas just had no answers. And if you walk at home ice and you get throw the first punches, you may be stuck coming on the road and having only 2 games left in your season. So, well, that if I'm Dallas, like I said, that you have to come out swinging and not just like swinging nucks, but putting bodies on the ground and putting Landy on his back, putting Mac on his back. After that Marchman hit, you saw him wince a little bit too, that big hit from both of them. Let's see how he heals up going into, I believe the next game's Tuesday. I can't remember off the top of my head. But either way, you have to put it to them. And like I said, the best way to slow down speed is putting them on their back. So we'll see if Dallas can respond.
Game 5 in Dallas will be on Monday. So we will be back live following the Monday game for Colorado. Dom, you got any final thoughts before we let you get out of here? We appreciate you coming on and joining the show once again. What are your closing thoughts for tonight?
I think that this is the Avalanche team that we've been waiting for. This is the Avalanche team of kind of our dreams. It's very similar in makeup to their cup run back in 2022. So I would love to be able to be sitting in, whether it be on the honeymoon or if I'm back from the honeymoon, whatever the championship's going to end up being, I would love to be able to be sitting in there wearing this jersey that I'm not washing until they lose again. And sorry about that, but I guess, it is what it is. I ain't washing it until they lose again, but I'd love to be able to say, the Avalanche are Stanley Cup champions once again. So based off tonight, they have all the makings of being able to do it. And we all can, the three of us can be sitting here and the whole, fan base can be sitting here believing that they can do it. They got to believe that they can do it. And I think based off of how they played tonight, they should start believing that they can make a run at it. And, we'll see what happens. I don't want to make too many predictions because in the playoffs, you don't want to look, further past the number of games that you got, but I think we got the best chance going into this next game of going up 3-2 and then finishing it out at home.
It would be something to be able to finish this thing out on home ice. I won't let you. I'm not going to make you talk about your guy losing at WrestleMania to the greatest of all time, giving up 17. I'll save that for another day. But we do appreciate you jumping on, and I'll let you get Lainey home and enjoy the rest of your wedding planning.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. And I will say, Niko, I know this is the only comment I'm going to make about it. I'm upset, but I'm not upset because of the outcome. I'm upset because my guy ended up being the one who got pinned. But I love the story. I love the stories that are coming from it. I'm just a Cody guy through and through, have been since he was in his first run in the WWE. So, that hurts a little bit, but Cena deserved it.
I was too last year. I'm not lying. I was too, but I'm just a bigger Cena guy. That's it. That's all it is. I like both of them. That's the fun part about it. Is you can like who you like, and I like Cody when he won last year, but the GOAT's there for a reason.
Look, I mean the next 27 dates, that's gonna be some of the
26
now.
best
26. He was
26
on
now. That's true.
SmackDown.
That's true. But the next 26 dates, those are gonna be some of the best, wrestling that we're gonna see. So, I mean, like I said, it hurts, but if anybody deserves it, it's Cena. He's the one who they built the company off of. So I can't be upset at that. I can be mad that my guy lost, but I can't be upset with the outcome.
He could be the guy to win him back and turn him back good. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's my hope. All right,
All right.
thanks, guys.
We'll let you get out of here. Niko, we got more awesomeness to talk about. Game 4s. I usually don't like game 4s because it hasn't been great for us in the past, but today went very, very well. And I guess
it almost went very, very bad. It
Yeah.
went very, very well.
if you ask Nikola Jokic himself, he would have said, "Uh-oh, this is going bad. This is going bad." We have to start with the ending of the game because Aaron Gordon. I just watched Uncle Drew yesterday, so I kind of had mixed feelings going into the game because Aaron Gordon plays the bad guy in that, alongside Nick Kroll. But damn it, that was court awareness. That was championship awareness. That was a man flying through I'm flying through the air. This is very fucking good. Holy shit.
Aaron Gordon is different. Let's put it that way. I have never seen a game winner like that. I have seen, obviously, I was there for Jamal when he hit the game winner over the Lakers like last year. I've been there for a couple different game winners, seen in person. I've never seen a miss that shot that badly with a tip in where at the very last millisecond, literally millisecond, like they showed it on ESPN of his hand tipping in. His hand was on the ball when it turned white, and as the second the light started to turn on is the second his hand lifted up. So it was as clean of a look. So Clippers fans can bitch and cry all they want. It was a clean look, and it counted, okay? I have never seen anything like that. And to throw on top of this, even the more fun about part of this, like AG is injured currently. I think he has something wrong with his leg right now where he cannot jump very well. He jumped above the rim and dunked that sucker. Okay, so like
over two guys.
There was reports before the game that he can't even jump. He can't even jump. And he's got leg problems. Michael Porter Jr. can't even get a shot up because he has shoulder problems. And Michael Porter Jr. drops to 18. AG hits the game winner on a dunk. That's just the adrenaline of the playoffs. And with between the injury and then what happened right before halftime, which I think just added to the momentum swing of the Nuggets in that third quarter. AG was defending Jamal or defending Christian Brown, and Christian Brown decided to get into it with James Harden, and that was the end of the story there. And then obviously the Nuggets went on a huge run to get their biggest lead of the series and get that 22-point lead in the third quarter, which I thought was incredible. Really saw a lot from MPJ. Saw a lot from Jamal. The biggest worry coming out of this game is very, very simple. Is like every single one of your starters played 42 plus minutes. Which, for those that aren't keeping track, they played 48 minutes of basketball. Okay, so they played 42 plus minutes, basically nearly 80% of the game. I'm not good at math numbers. You're the smarter guy here for that. But either way, that's a lot. That's a lot of time. Okay, it's a lot of time.
Too much time.
Luckily, there is 2 days in between a game, and they don't play again. I believe until Monday as well. I have to double check that. Maybe it's Tuesday.
Are they on the same day?
I think they might be Tuesday. We might have alternate days. But either way, like it was, I was sitting there during that 22-point lead. I'm like, we are so tired. We're gonna lose this. And this is the roster that Calvin Booth built. That makes it just more annoying. Because look, Jalen Pickett, Peyton Watson, and DeAndre Jordan being your 3 bench players you use in a playoff game is pretty inexcusable. Okay, is all I'm going to say. Like I will stand from the rooftop still. We are not missing KCP. Okay, we are not missing KCP. Look what he's doing in Orlando series. He has not been good for Orlando at all. Nikola Jokic got KCP paid, my friend. He got him paid. He's been very bad for Orlando. What we are missing is Bruce Brown, Christian Brown, and Jeff Green off the bench. Because those 3 during our championship run basically closed out games for us. Almost closed out for games for us when AG wasn't going or Mike wasn't going, whatever. There is not a single soul. Peyton Watson sometimes because of his defense. There is not someone off the bench right now that I can single-handedly trust to step in and do all the right things. And Russ obviously was injured tonight, which obviously shortened the bench even further. But like, this is why I don't have the biggest amount of faith in them going forward, but I have a lot of faith in them finishing this series. But like I just sit here and I'm like, man, this team is just not doing very good. Or David Otto or David Ottoman is sitting on his hands, watching the Clippers going on this 29-7 run in the fourth quarter to cut the lead down and take the lead in the final minute of the game, right? And all this is happening, and then I remember, oh wait, that's right. We do have the best player on the planet on our team, and he will help us win this basketball game. Like like I said, it doesn't matter what the score is and what's going on. The Nuggets will always have a chance when 15's on the floor. I will stand by that. It doesn't matter who. It could be Oklahoma City next series if we get that far. It could be whoever you face down the road. It doesn't matter. We will always have the best player on the floor during the series, and I think that helps a ton in basketball, as opposed to other sports, which I don't think it helps as much. But in basketball, it helps more than anything. And we saw it in the closing sequences of the game where Jokic slowed the game down, was methodical. Obviously, that game-winning shot was a horrible take from him. He was just sending a prayer. I thought that was a horrible play call by Adelman to give Jokic a soundboard 3 for the freaking win. I hated that play call. But obviously, luckily, AG was there to clean it up. But man, I whenever 15 is, like I said, I will never not love watching 15 play for my team, because he just does these things that I'm just sitting here and I'm just like, wow, that's so smart. Wow, I would have never thought about that. Wow, that's you make this like Zubac is a hell of a center. Ivica Zubac is a hell of a center, great defender. Really had a really good post game or post game in the last couple of games with his moveset. But Nikola Jokic is making him look like barbecue chicken underneath there. And I'm just watching him dissect him, where they're trying to throw Ben Simmons at him. That's not working. Trying to throw Zubac at him. That's not working. Trying to throw Kawhi Leonard at him. That's not working. And I'm just like, he has an answer for everything. I am watching a master. I obviously I watched that chess show, Queen's Gambit, when it was during COVID and all that. I would imagine if I sat there at a chess game and just watched the best chess player in the world play against an amateur, is what it's like watching Nikola Jokic play basketball. It's like just watching him piece them up one by one. Like, oh, that move makes sense. Oh my gosh, why do you do that? Oh my gosh, he won in 8 moves. That's exactly what it is with Nikola Jokic playing defense against him, because he will find different ways to annihilate you. That if you want to make him a scorer, that's fine. He'll score on you. If you want to make him a passer, okay, let's see who wants to step up tonight, right? And that's the greatness of Nikola Jokic.
It's something when a guy has that level of comfort and that level of flow, and it goes to all of the latent research. And I don't know if you're a fan of the Accountant series, but they have the acquired savant syndrome, where people get a traumatic brain injury and can wake up and speak fluent Russian, and they never spoke a foreign language in their life, and they just know how to do certain things. That seems to be what's going on. Yet he's the most not disinterested, because he definitely cares to win. But Churchill Downs is coming up. He's probably more worried about the horses, the ponies he's going to pick. The pony is going to run very soon, so I'm just going to finish the basketball game, and if I win, I get to watch, and I'm in better mood.
Oh, man. I will give a lot of credit to the Clippers, because I think the Clippers are one of the best teams right now in the playoffs. I think they're better than every other 2-3 matchup. The 2-for-7 and 3-for-6. I think the Clippers are better than all those teams right now. With Kawhi, the way he's playing, the most ethical hooper we've ever seen. The guy just dribble, pull up, bang. Defensively, gets in your face, steals the ball away. Dribble, pull up, fake, nope, underneath, dunk. Like, it's just like the most ethical hooper in the world, Kawhi Leonard. He is, like I said, the best version of Kawhi Leonard is one of the most prolific and ethical hoopers in the history of mankind. And then you have the exact opposite when it comes to James Harden, who is the most unethical hooper of all time, who literally will just draw foul after foul after foul. For those that think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander foul baits and just tries to go to the free throw line consistently, they did not watch 2015 to 2019 James Harden and see him consistently just draw foul after draw foul. You're either A, fouling him on a 3-point shot, or B, they're going to set a pick and drive to the hoop, and he's going to lean on you and draw a foul. It is the most hideous watch of a basketball player I will ever see. Like, I don't. There are players I don't like watching for various reasons. Maybe don't like them because they play for a different team, or maybe they're annoying, like a little bit of punk, or whatever. There is not another basketball player in the history of my life that I've watched that I hate their pure basketball game more than James Harden. like, simply speaking, basketball terms, how he plays basketball, there's not a single person I hate more watching than James Harden. Because the way he just maneuvers and just draws fouls and does dumb things and basically just tries to bait you, it is the most annoying thing in the entire world. And then, like I said, on the flip side, you have Kawhi Leonard that's just like, damn, that's just, you can't do nothing about that. It's like dribble, pull up, bang. Like corner three, bang. Like you guarding Jamal Murray on top of the court, steal, lead to a dunk, bang. Like I'm just like, wow, Kawhi Leonard, you're so incredible to watch. Then I'm watching James Harden foul bait down by 20, and I'm like, what happened to the game I love? what is going on?
Basketball, where have you gone? Here's the good thing, Niko. Game 6, 5, 6, and 7 of a series is when James Harden just decides not to show up anymore. He is hit. He doesn't get paid for playoff games. He knows that. He only plays very hard in the games that he knows he's getting paid for, and he has like 3 or 4 games left in the postseason, and now we're going to start getting more lazy James Harden. And I guess my question is a Clippers team with a focused Kawhi Leonard yet an unfocused James Harden, are they willing to give the best of 3? Are they going to make that more difficult for us?
Absolutely. I think this Clippers team, I love what they did to their bench. I love the Bogdanovich trade during the midseason, bringing him up from over Atlanta. I think he's been a great addition. Batum, when he hits shots, has been very, very good. I even like what Derrick Jones Jr. is doing defensively on guys like Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr. I think he's been very good. The one thing that the Clippers have that we don't have and that other teams have is like the depth pieces that they can that can finish games, right? Almost 95% of the time, who's going to finish the game for the Denver Nuggets. Frankly, we saw that 20-point comeback. Bogdanovich comes off the bench. Bogdanovich closed that game out when they ran that 1-3-1 zone and had that great comeback, right? Him and Kawhi Leonard were being a menace to society up top and making life miserable on the Nuggets and making them forced to take bad shot after bad shot after bad shot. And you can do that with Ben Simmons, probably not having to take shots, but you can do that with some other guys off the bench that we don't have. Their depth is huge, and it's been a key factor of why they've been one of the hottest teams in basketball to end the season. Look, it worries me with how we won tonight. Obviously, if we would have just won by 20 points and just game ended right there, I would have felt a lot more confident. But I really felt like the Clippers had our number at the end of the game, especially when you have a coach, David Adelman, that did not make any in-game adjustments after having a 1-3-1 zone thrown at you, and the other team goes on a 29-7 run, and you have no playbook answers, you have no defensive adjustments, you have no offensive adjustments. You're just like, oh, we'll move the ball and take a shot, right? That was the biggest headache. That's why what we talked about with Darren after Game 3. It's like the coaching difference between Ty Lue and David Adelman and the entire Nuggets coaching staff is a championship coach who's won a championship with Cleveland, and a bunch of guys that have always played second fiddle to Michael Malone. And that's just why this whole trading Malone thing at the end of the season is even more baffling, because right now, like, we could be up 3-1 in this series if it weren't for dumb or just non-existent coaching cues and coaching adjustments that you have to make in a 7-game NBA playoff series. So it's very frustrating, but at the same time, like, I call Jokic the coach. So, like, I mean, we're at that point, right? Adelman is just the one doing the interviews before and after the game. Like, he's just the one that they have the face shown on the head coach cam on the sideline, right? We all know Nikola Jokic is running everything. Yep. So it's frustrating, but at the same time, it's not sustainable, which makes it suck even more. Because, like, I mean, we're not going to talk about the other series today. You'll have to tune into the weekly show to hear about all that. But, like, it really feels like if we limp into Oklahoma City, we may be done in 4 games because Oklahoma City is already done with their series tonight, and they will have a week off. And they obliterated everything Memphis had, and Clippers I think could have a shot because they're depth wise against Oklahoma City. But if we think we're going to run our starting 40 plus minutes a night against Oklahoma City, oh boy, we're in trouble.
We'll have to cross that bridge when we come to it. We got more Game 5 action coming up. Monday is the Avalanche. Tuesday is the Nuggets. So we'll be able to talk about the Nuggets plus all of the other playoff series in both the NHL and NBA, and recap a little bit of what the draft was, because there were not necessarily big movement, but there's some interesting storylines to talk about with this NFL draft, especially being out here in Colorado and Sanders being a very big looming shadow over this entire weekend. It's definitely going to be something to talk about. We'll be back once again after the Avs game Monday, see if they're able to take game 5 in Dallas after a dominant 4-0 shutout of the Dallas Stars to tie the series 2-2. The Nuggets also tie the series 2-2 on an alley-oop buzzer beater from Aaron Gordon. You got anything else for the people before we let them go and enjoy the rest of their weekend?
Please don't have both series go to 7. Please, I don't know if I can take 2 game 7s. Is all I'll say. So please don't.
If you missed Dom earlier when we were talking about the Avs, he had a very good prediction. Hopefully, he laid out a roadmap that I think we would both very much prefer, because then we also get a little bit of time to rest in between the next series starting up. But we got to get there first.
I just think it'd be to overcap it in general. Like, obviously, the Nuggets and Clippers have playoff experience. Like even if we lost tonight, the whole Clippers 3-1 lead would have came back up again, right? That could have came up, and the Clippers blowing leads and that whole bubble situation. And then also the other situation is we walked into game 5 going into Dallas last year, same exact situation. 2-2, game 5, Dallas wins, then you lose on home ice. How are you going to respond, right? So it's a lot of fun. I wouldn't call the Clippers and Nuggets a rivalry, but obviously the Stars and Avs are a big rivalry. But it's 2 series that, frankly, you look at both landscapes of the playoffs, have been the most exciting playoff series on both ends. So I can't explain it. I can't explain how excited I am to see how these 2 series plays out.
We'll be back for Game 5 action. For now, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Be sure to subscribe, follow the page at FEOTB Pod. Be sure to check out myself on Fat Boy Fadeaway early tomorrow. It's going to be 8:30 Mountain Time. You'll be able to watch it throughout the rest of the day. Going to jump on with Darren and talk a little bit of NHL playoffs, some WrestleMania, and I might even throw some basketball opinions out there because it's a different show, and nobody's gonna know whether or not I have any idea what I'm talking about. But for myself, Jimmy Pallotto, my co-host Niko Bryant, our special guest Dom for joining us for this playoff reaction show. We will see you guys after Monday, Game 5.
Peace.
If you don't stay down and you never quit, come on over here and sit on the far end of the bench.